Hey friends, welcome to the AOU Summer Conference. I'm wicked stoked to be here. My name is Caitlin Thompson, or Coach T, art educator for K through 4 littles here in Natick, Massachusetts. Today I'm going to be talking to you about newspaper and paper pottery. I came up with this lesson for two reasons. One, at the elementary level, we don't have kilns. Two, admittedly, I'm a little bit intimidated by clay. Model magic, awesome, but it has its limits and its price point. What's nice about newspaper is that it's cheap, especially if you have friends who haven't gone digital. Thanks, Dad. Paper is also really near and dear to my heart. I was trained as a bookbinder at North Bennett Street School, shout out, so I absolutely love paper manipulation and showing my students that you don't just have to work on paper, you can work with paper to mold these fabulous beauties and so much more. It's absolutely radtastic. Anyways, before I actually start the demonstration, I want to share with you the materials we're using. 1-inch newspaper strips or 1-inch construction paper strips, Scotch tape, a handy dandy brush, and a big old jug of Mod Podge. Now, for the actual demonstration, I would like to invite you inside my mind palace so you have a more optimal view of this demonstration. I'll see you on the other side. Hey friends, welcome to my mind palace. We are going to get started right away by making our newspaper pottery core. Now, to do this, you will need your 1-inch strip of newspaper, and you're going to start by neatening up that pile. If any of that pile of newspaper there has been gotten baggy or loose, you're going to tighten it up and fold it nicely. Then, always from the folded edge, you're going to start with an initial pinch, and that is a simple teeny weeny fold, as tight as you can. As soon as you can grab this with your thumb and middle finger or thumb and forefinger, whichever is more comfortable for you, you're going to begin the coiling process. What you do is you pull the bottom strip, you never rotate it above. Think of this bottom strip here as a road. We are not in Inception. This road is not going to come up towards you. I do not see Leo DiCaprio anywhere. So no moving the strip. It is flat. Only roll that core. It's a very small range of motion. Every single time I want you to really pull that tight, roll. Pull that tight, roll. And that's it. That part's a tricky part. You gotta whoop around your hand, and there's no easy way to explain it except you have to switch your grip without letting the tightness go. Now, those uneven strips, that's supposed to happen. It's fine. You just need a piece of tape that will hold all of those pieces down, and you really want to act as though that piece of tape is an extension of your strip and pull tight. I tell my students, imagine your friend is overboard on a ship and you've got to pull them over. So just like that, you want to pull that final tape. To build your core into a puck, what you do is take one more strip. Again, always start from that folded edge. Take one piece of tape, attach it like a tag, and what I advise my students to do is hold this like a remote. Boop, 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 boop. Because if you hold it by the tape, what'll happen is the whole inside will fall out. So beware that these are not connected, okay? So remote stance, we're going to use our thumb to push it into place, hold it on the other side with your forefinger, and keep this on the top. If you rest your attached strip on the top, it's less likely that the insides will fall out. So from underneath, I'm going to share with you my two phrases. This is my sock puppet grip. Got it? And this is my thumb war grip right here. And this is my really slow moving steamroller trying to run over my thumb. I'm going to hold it, adjust my grip, pull it tight, try to run it over, hold it, adjust my grip. And that's it. You'll notice how I use this side of my finger to support it from underneath as well. You are going to keep doing that around and around and around and around until your puck is just about 3.5 to 4 inches, or when your newspaper strip kind of starts and ends at the same time. Now, you can totally keep yours smaller to make a nice mini piece. I had a friend who wanted to add a little white construction paper strip, and she made some designs for me. That can be super fun. You could also go big or go home and make a giant puck. With this, you've got to remember to inform your students that tension and tightness is key. As soon as it starts to feel a little wonky and loose, then you're gonna have a little bit more trouble when you're molding this together. But worry not about those looser bowls because you can always freeze them together once you use your Mod Podge, okay? Now, when I say loose, if I was holding this by the side, it would sag, it would fall through. This is not loose. Of course it's not loose because I made it. Anyways, let's talk about how to mold this delightful piece into an actual bowl or cup structure. You have an inch, or I like to say you have more of a half an inch of room. And what you do is you push with your thumbs and support with your fingers. When I talk about the fact that you have half an inch, is that each of these layers can move about half an inch upwards, so you can totally experiment with different shapes. And if you don't like it, you just flatten it up, try again. Now, the area the cup sits on, I call it the bowl bum or the cup bum, should be about the width of an Oreo, just across. That's because we don't want any wobbly bowls. I encourage my students to try asymmetrical designs as well because it allows for fun, cool, unique shapes. I enjoy this, so I am going to be satisfied, move my other stuff out of the way. And before I Mod Podge this, I want to talk to you about how to do this with just construction paper strips. So I'm gonna scoot this out of the frame, whoop, like that. And what you'll do for any friends who are having trouble with the newspaper, have them try construction paper. It's a little thicker, it's a little more forgiving. Newspaper is soft, that's how it goes. So to start with the core, what you'll do is you start with 2 strips. They can be the same color, they can be different colors. Fold them in half. You'll notice I kind of stagger mine. That's just a way of habit, so it has a nicer little edge when I fold it up. And you're gonna do the exact same thing. Initial pinch, teeny weeny folds, grab it, and coil. Beautiful. To attach more pieces, what you'll do is you'll take 4 at a time, maybe 5, and you'll stagger them in a row like this. And you're going to add your tape, like so, okay? Hold it, put it exactly where the last place ended, and again, roll that up tighter than Charmin out of the package. Beautiful. And when you're ready, it's time to Mod Podge. On day 1, I always Mod Podge the inside and the rim. For anyone who has work that is loose, what it's going to do is when it's in this form, it's gonna, again, sag down. So what I have them do is just mold it and Mod Podge it sideways. So what they'll do is as they add the Mod Podge, they'll just use their palm and as a support, and they'll let it dry on its side. The next day, it'll be able to stand up delightfully because Mod Podge has that rad-tastic quality of freezing things in place. I like the gloss, and for my brush, I use these soft bristle brushes that I got from, I think they're Dynasty brand. It's pretty soft. I didn't want hard bristles because I didn't want anything to sort of cause impact on my pieces of pottery here. They clean really well. Let's get into it as we go. So, what I like to do is I Mod Podge with the grain of my newspaper in these little circular motions. I'm gonna scoot that out of the way, okay? If your friends have pools of Mod Podge, have them spread it out, do it in a circular fashion. I typically will give my students little styrofoam plates, 6-inch styrofoam plates, because the Mod Podge won't stick to them. And if it does, well, it will stick to anything, but you can peel it off without any residue coming from the styrofoam. If you use a paper plate, you risk having some paper schmutz on yours, which doesn't need to be very fun. As you see along the edges, what I do is a little scrape and smooth action, scrape and smooth. Let's do that final rim. Again, if you get a little bit on the other sides, that's fine. Just make sure it's going in one direction for consistency's sake. This will dry clear with a delightful sheen. Now on day 2, you would take your finished piece here, turn it over, and do your outside. Again, make sure it's a nice even distribution of your Mod Podge. You can always keep adding a little bit more. And any of those little holy spots, just tap them in and keep going. Remember, your edge here is dry at this point and Mod Podged, so you don't need to do it again. And that's sort of your indicator line of where you should stop. This brush should go immediately into some warm water. Don't let it sit. It should perhaps soak overnight, but I have used these for years and they have survived the test of time. So that's it for newspaper pottery. Your delightful pieces of work can have totally different shapes. I absolutely love what we can create together with these pieces. It's fun to make a little set, and that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this little presentation. And happy creating. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, friends. I know that was a lot of information very quickly, but don't worry, I have a honkin' handout with all the information, materials, tips, tricks, and analogies I use along the way. I do start this lesson with 4th grade only. That's the lowest I'll go. If you can go lower, cheers to you. For my older students, I've had tremendous success with middle school and high school. And if you want to get a bit more advanced, especially with those high school friends, stick around with your AfterPass for my magazine pottery video where I go over some more complex folds and structures that you can create. Absolutely awesome. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me on the gram at Art with Coach T. That's Art with Coach T. Me. I hope you've had a great time. Thank you so much for having me and for watching. Be well. Have an awesome summer, and happy creating!